Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, because we have people joining us today from 150 cities and more than 20 countries across the world. It's truly a wonderful day today at Venture Catalyst and Nine Unicorn. We are really excited to host one of the brightest entrepreneur our generation has seen, Mr. Ritesh Agarwal. We have with us Mr. Ritesh Agarwal. We'll be listening from him, the wonderful story. But before we do that, we'll take just a few seconds so that our guests can join from various cities and countries. For all the guests who are joining today, we are using the webinar mode from Zoom, which is a little different from Zoom meeting, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with. You would not be able to broadcast your audio or your video. However, you'll be able to listen to the entire conversation, look at the discussion, and also towards the end of the session, you'd be able to ask your questions live to Mr. Ritesh Agarwal. Please use the Q&A option towards the end of the session to ask your question live. Also, during the event, we have disabled the chat option. We would certainly be going back and switching it on right before we start the Q&A so that you can, maybe share your thoughts there. However, we highly recommend that if you would like to ask a question, kindly use the Q&A so that our team can go ahead and curate the questions and we can take the questions to our guest. Once again, I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of Venture Catalyst and Nine Unicorn to welcome all our guests who are joining us today for this wonderful discussion with Mr. Ritesh Agarwal. We also have with us Dr. Apur Ranjan Sharma, co-founder Venture Catalyst and Nine Unicorn, who would be going for a fireside chat with Mr. Agarwal. It's 7:03 p.m. Indian Standard Time. We'll wait for 30 to 40 more seconds before we go ahead with the event. Thank you so much. We are doing this so that we can have most of the people joining in. A few more seconds and we start the event. Thank you so much. So we have a wonderful event, wonderful discussion lined up today. I'm sure you all have heard about the wonderful story of Oyo Rooms and Oyo Homes. Today, you'll be listening from the man himself who needs no introduction, one of the youngest billionaire in the world, how he started Oyo Rooms and the wonderful journey behind it. Also, a very interesting discussion led by Dr. Apur Ranjan Sharma, co-founder Venture Catalyst and Nine Unicorn. Without any further ado, I would like to go ahead with the discussion today. But before I do that, let me take this opportunity to introduce Venture Catalyst to all our guests today. Venture Catalyst is an integrated incubator. It provides investment of $500,000 to $2 million per startup and incubation support of 24 to 36 months. Venture Catalyst has been ranked world's 7th largest incubator and early stage investor by TechCrunch in 2019. In India, it has been successfully ranked as #1 early stage player in 2018 and 2019. Since 2016, Venture Catalyst has led investment of $158 million plus in 90 plus startups. It has unprecedented results with 33 successful exits. In a short span of just 54 months, Venture Catalyst has become Asia's largest investor group with more than 4,500 plus angel investors spread across 36 cities in 6 countries: India, London, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, and US. Globally, marquee investors such as Sequoia Capital, Google Inc., Jade Value, Cashbus, Y Combinator, Matrix Partners, Axis Capital, FJ Labs, which are investors of Airbnb, Uber, Facebook, have co-invested with Venture Catalyst. With its focus on developing the startup ecosystem in tier 2 and 3 cities in India, Venture Catalyst is enabling incubators and angel networks across 36 cities like Lucknow, Raipur, Surat, Nagpur, Jaipur, Noida, etc. These centers are not only offering incubation support to startups, but also offering regular investors education sessions for HNIs and industrialists from these cities. Venture Catalyst acquired Incubate Hub, a corporate innovation platform for startups, launched Nine Syndicate, which is an investment banking division, and Nine Unicorn, which is an accelerator fund to disrupt idea stage funding in India. It has been backed by industry veterans and billionaires, investors such as Mr. Radhakrishnan Damani from DMart, Mr. Namish Shah and Vallabh Bhansali from Inam Group, Kamal Agarwal from Haldiram, Mr. Kothari from Om Kothari Group, and many leaders from India. Once again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our partners and our members to make this event successful. This webinar is a collective effort of the entire team of Venture Catalyst and our 70 plus regional partners, venture partners. Special thanks to our international partners, Dr. Ahmed Al Zubaidi from GCC, Mr. Nayan Gala and Mr. Gaurav Singh from London. Also our teams from various initiatives such as Incubate Hub, Nine Syndicate, Nine Unicorns, and also special thanks to our investors who have been with us since day one of Venture Catalyst, and many, many thanks to the team from Oyo Rooms to make this event successful. Interesting fact for all the people joining in, we have participants joining in from 150 cities and 20 plus countries today. Without any further ado, I would like to move ahead and introduce Dr. Apoor Ranjan Sharma, who would be leading the fireside chat today with Mr. Ritesh Agarwal. Dr. Apoor Ranjan Sharma is the co-founder and president of Venture Catalyst. Under his leadership, Venture Catalyst has become world's seventh most active incubator and early stage investor. It has invested in more than 100 startups, built an ecosystem of 4,500 plus angel investors across 36 plus cities. Dr. Sharma is a PhD in incubation from India, acclaimed globally. He holds an MBA, BTech from reputed institutions, and diploma in mentoring studies from UC Berkeley. Dr. Sharma has been mentoring and investing in startups since 2002. He has established more than 12 incubators in the country. Dr. Sharma has personally mentored in 100 plus startups. He has an eye for identifying unicorns at a very early stage. His successful portfolio includes BharatPe, which is currently valued at $500 million or $500 million. Beardo, which was acquired by Marico. Innovate, acquired by Oyo Rooms. Find, acquired by Reliance Industries. And 30 plus multi-bagger successful exits. Dr. Sharma, it is a wonderful privilege for us to welcome you to the event. Thank you so much to join us today.
Thank you, Ravi.
We move on, and I would say, the next speaker certainly does not require an introduction, and it would not be, exaggerating this, because we all have been inspired by the wonderful journey of Mr. Ritesh Agarwal. It is my privilege to invite our guest for the evening today, Mr. Ritesh Agarwal, who is the founder and group CEO for Oyo Hotels and Home. Interestingly, Ritesh is 26 years of age today. Oyo Hotels and Homes was founded by 26-year-old Ritesh Agarwal, the first resident Asian to be accepted to the Thiel Fellowship, started by PayPal founder Mr. Peter Thiel. Traveling across India at the age of 17, Ritesh stayed in more than 100 bed and breakfast, guest houses, and hotels to realize there was a massive dearth of affordable and good quality hotels in the unbranded budget hotel category. With this in mind, he started his entrepreneurial journey by creating a listing platform for budget accommodations, only to conclude that discovery alone will not solve this massive issue. Ritesh believed that everyone deserves a beautifully designed, chic, and comfortable living space, and everyone deserves a better life. He believed that he could change the way people live. He did that by upgrading bland, generic spaces and places and designing them with next generation, chic and design moxie, and offering them at varied price points. That's how Oyo was launched in May 2013, now known as Oyo Hotels and Homes. Oyo today is world's leading chain of hotels and homes. Today, Ritesh is one of the youngest and most successful founders in the world and has been honored at several forums for creating a global disruptor in the form of Oyo Hotels and Homes. Ritesh, on behalf of Venture Catalyst and Nine Unicorn, it is our privilege to welcome you to the event today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. Dhanyavad. I really, really appreciate it. And, very thankful that so many people have joined us on a weekend for speaking and talking. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you so much, Ritesh. Before I invite Dr. Sharma, a fun fact and a very inspiring fact for all of us. In 2012, Dr. Sharma invested in Oyo Rooms, and as the first investor and mentor, today Oyo Room has become one of the most valued startup globally with a valuation of $10 billion plus. Dr. Sharma, I think it's a wonderful circle of life today that we are hosting Mr. Agarwal. Over to you, Ritesh and Dr. Apoor Sharma.
Thank you, Ravi. I think, first of all, thank you, Ritesh, who you have taken out time, from such a busy schedule, and for our audience here, our investors who are coming from 150 cities. We are here to hear your journey. We are here to hear your, challenges and the future. In very quickly, Ritesh, I know you very well and you know me, but many of us, who are coming to hear you, they're very inquisitive to know what are the things. You came from a city like city Raigada, very small city. I heard you in a couple of places, and then becoming the second richest, youngest billionaire, and then becoming the Decathlon founder. How do you feel? How has been your journey? This is a fantastic journey, no doubt. But what are the milestones you would like to think about while you are seeing, sitting in a Decathlon founder? What are the important milestones came in your life? You really created a valuable company. We would like to hear in such a short span. What are those things you still remember? What are the milestones you like? Audience would like to know about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Apurva Bhai. You're being very generous as you always are. I'm sure you haven't forgotten those discussions that we've had at various temple lunches that we've had in Mumbai right from the very early days.
Yes.
For me,
Yeah. Definitely.
from my perspective, Apurva Bhai, I think the country and the world is changing dramatically, but India more specifically has changed very, very dramatically in the last few years. Today, if you're a 19-year-old and want to make a big difference in a space that you want, people won't ask you that what is the license you've got. People will ask you, can you make a difference? Dr. Apur Sharma did not ask me when I was starting my business that, Ritesh, what are your other qualifications? He said, you're solving for the right problem. You did a little bit of diligence. You checked our customers and our partners and said, well, this is something I want to back. So in this new world, I think there will be a small town person from Odisha who will build an OYO. You will see a boy from Hyderabad or Manipal become the CEO of Google or Microsoft. And this is not the end. In my view, this is the beginning of the era where Indians will make disproportionate difference. I have learned, Apurva Bhai, that big aspirations and sincerity to execute, these are the only two requirements. Sometimes people have big aspiration, but don't have the sincerity to work hard. Doesn't work. If you have sincerity to work hard, but no big aspirations, you cap out at some place. But that combination is something that I believe has helped me through this period of time. And last but not the least, I believe small town India is going to create the new big businesses of our country. And here is my opinion from there, Apurva Bhai. You've invested in Beardo. Consumer companies in India used to be primarily big MNCs coming to India and building businesses. But now we as Indian entrepreneurs inherently understand our consumer habits and are able to build right experiences for them. You'd be surprised to know OYO India has around 64% of its revenue coming from non-urban towns, which is non-top 10 towns, because the small town India is also becoming a big customer in this period. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity, and I'm glad that मुझे लगता है कि I feel it's also a little bit of luck. I feel all the darshans that we had at Siddhivinayak helped in this process as well.
Yes, super. So Ritesh at his 17, 19 age and Ritesh today, what has changed?
So Apurva Bhai, in my view, the most critical thing that I have learned right from the very early days is a good team is irreplaceable. So I have invested in bringing a very good, high quality team. When I was 19, I wanted to do everything myself. But over time, I've recruited some high quality talent. We brought in Rohit Kapoor, who's our CEO of India. We brought in Dr. Mandar, who's our CEO of Southeast Asia. These are all industry veterans who've been there for 20, 30, 35 years of experience in their own respective fields, have led public companies, and have demonstrated great value. I've also learned to become a better listener. I used to listen, if you remember, in the early days as well, but over time, I have made this a very important part of my skill set. So I try to listen more. So I brought in board members like Betsy Atkins, Troy Alsted, and I listened to them. I asked them questions and listened. I think the third learning that I've had is it's a long-term battle. I want to keep building OYO for next 30, 40, 50, 55 years or more, right? 60 years, I don't know. So it's not a 1 year or a 2 year journey. And if that's the long-term aspiration, making sure that you're not troubled by short-term challenges is very critical. When I was 19, Apurva Bhai, you remember there was a newspaper which said, Ritesh cannot be successful.
Yes, I
Next
remember.
morning, I came and worked harder. Then the newspaper said, well, Ritesh can be successful in New Delhi, not in north of India. Then we scaled in north of India. Then the newspaper said he can scale in north of India, but not in all of India. Then we became leaders in India. Then they said they can grow in India, but not in Asia. Then we grew all over Asia. Now they say it can do in Asia, but not the globe. So we have more work to do in the times to come. So my view is that constantly earning our stripes is something that I have learned over the years, and I could not have been more excited about it.
Second time I'm hearing some entrepreneur who is saying 60 years, because I heard Jack Ma saying, I want to build Alibaba 100-year-old company. I want people to, marry and, give birth child here and marry with our employees. So second time, somebody like Ritesh, first time from any Indian entrepreneur is talking about 60 years. I want to live and breathe OYO rooms. Hats off to you. Your listening habit, no doubt. Your day one, I remember, you've been very patient listener and you've learned a lot from others. I remember you acquired a lot of skills from others. But what are the other some important traits, Ritesh, you would like to share with, because, to keep in mind, which can make other entrepreneurs big? This I'm talking, because a lot of investors who are here, they are developing companies. So they would like to hear that.
Sure. I think for an entrepreneur, in my view, there are various important skill sets, and I can go on and on about it. But I will sort of lay it out in three important buckets, Apurva Bhai. The first one is to sort of remember that perseverance is probably one of the most important skill sets. You remember so many times I was told that this business is not going to grow, you're not going to survive, go take a job or go back to university or one of those. I've always believed that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep digging. If you dig through the tunnel, the other side the sunlight will come. So I think perseverance has been very critical. And I'll give you an example, right? I think at all points of times, there have been situations where people would tell you that, it's very easy to give up, right? It's not the hardest thing to give up. The hard thing is actually continue to build in the times to come. So as I think about it, one of the situations where I saw, an example of a trouble is, for example, this COVID period, right? There could be no worse period for travel and hospitality industry than that of the COVID period. And not much to say is that OYO is also not immune to a crisis like that of COVID because we operate in the hospitality and the travel industry.
Correct.
But some smart person has said, Apurva Bhai, that never let a crisis go waste. So as soon as the crisis came, we said, we as entrepreneurs will be innovative. We will find out opportunities to make a difference here. We realized very quickly that budget hotels will grow because it's not just a recession. It's not just a pandemic, it's a recession as well. We realized vacation homes in Europe and US will grow because this is a time where people will just go away for a weekend. I was recently hearing, Governor Cuomo saying that people in New York have all left and nobody's coming back. It's not just important to grow the business, it's important to have a good heart. Because good business, a lot of hedge fund and investors also run, but an operator needs to have a good heart. So my perspective is, my hotel owners, for example, had problems with our company. Some complaints had come, you may have heard. I use the COVID period. They need us more than ever before now. The hotel owners need OYO more than ever before because there is no business. We are actually reducing our commissions now. We are saying that we will earn lesser from our partners to be able to build deeper relationships with them. So last but not the least, three things like I said: perseverance, never let a crisis go waste, and last but not the least, don't just have good business mind, have a good heart. Those are three things I believe are traits that an entrepreneur should have.
Super. I think you definitely has seen this crisis as an opportunity, and I can see that, you know, the way the smile tells me that you are on the recovery mode. Definitely, as you said, you know, this hospitality industry was hit during this COVID time. I'm sure it must have impacted OU as well. But how have you managed the morale of the employees? Because your team is the most important thing. And how have you managed the partners during this COVID time? Because, you know, this actually was a situation where probably, and this life, in every entrepreneur's life, this kind of situation comes when it is chips are down, but, you know, when they come out of it, they become massive. So I'm sure I would like to hear, my investor would like to hear that, how did you manage the employees' morale? How did you manage your partners? Because, and how did you brought the company back on the recovery mode? So if you'd like to talk about that.
Yeah, Apurva bhai, as you know, I think this is a moment of crisis which is very tough for everybody. It is tough for employees. It is tough for partners. And honestly, even for our corporate customers, like in India, we have around 7,000 corporate customers. It is very hard for them as well. I think the way we reacted with this was basically making sure, number one, remember that there is a significant change this crisis has brought in front of us. So to make sure that we listen and talk to employees as much as possible. So every day I spend almost 8 to 9 hours. So if I work for around 15 hours or so, I've spent 8 to 9 hours speaking to our people for the first 2-3 months, just listening from them. You have to almost be like an antenna, listening to your customers, to your partners, your employees, and learning from them. If you think that you know it all, that's the beginning to an end. So I was constantly listening. So for our employees, I heard, number one, we learned that they were having a challenge in being able to make sure that they can spend even a limited time with their family. Remember, when you go to work and then you don't have lunch with your family, it's okay. But when you're working from home and you don't have lunch with your family, it can get quite problematic. So we insisted on our people to create higher productivity hacks where we ensured that people had some time to just focus on emails, some time to just focus on their family. But when they're working, to be very, very focused on that. Second, our employees needed to see innovation. They didn't want, our employees don't want to work for an OYO which is defensive. They want to work for an OYO which aspires to be number one, win a big outcome in the years to come. So we sat together and constantly innovated. So we said, what does our customer want? Customer wants safety. We will be the world's first budget hotel brand to partner Unilever globally to be able to bring safe experiences for them. What do our partners need? Are there potential acquisitions we can make? You may have heard about this company called TUI. We bought out TUI's vacation homes business in Europe based out of Germany a couple of months back because we're getting a lot of opportunities for good cost in the middle of this crisis. So that's what we did with employees. And last but not the least, I talk to employees. Every week I've been doing town halls, speaking to my employees, listening to them and talking. And similarly with partners, I've done over 100 town halls. And similarly with our customers, we've learned from them and responded. So essentially in this crisis, Apurva bhai, listening to people and responding with agility has been a focus. And this reminds me, tough times come for every company. You know, you remember 2019, a lot of people were saying that Reliance has debt problems. And, you know, Morgan Stanley came out with a report saying that, hey, look at what's the debt and the issues around. Nobody remembers it today. Today, and you know, I'm very inspired by Reliance. Of course, they've built a company which is tremendously successful, and my regards to Mukesh bhai and the quality of business he's built. But that is the strength of an entrepreneur. That an entrepreneur doesn't get impacted by short-term challenges and takes a long-term view and keeps building behind that.
Great, super. I think you've touched upon some of the really important and critical points, which basically in the challenging time, which every entrepreneur should look at. And with this experience, I'm sure many of us will be learning also. Many of our investors will also pass on the message to their portfolio companies. OYO is a global company now. I know we started in India, but now it's a global company. You're getting a large part of your business from Europe, then China, and lot of countries. They are very strict on the COVID norms, and a lot of countries you will have to follow those. How have you cope up with these COVID norms and ensured your customers are having the best experience and best hygiene experience during this COVID time?
So Apurva bhai, if you remember, in all our travels and discussions, this is back in 2012 when we had not even converted to OYO from Arrival. We used to constantly talk about opportunities of saying that how do we build a true Indian business which is making an impact to people's lives across the world. I believe India is a country of entrepreneurs and extremely good talent. I always tell that, if you go to the 20th or 30th or 40th town in India, right? Like even if you go to, Bhubaneswar, you will find Swiss watch, Swiss chocolates, and so on. But if you go to the 30th town in Switzerland, you will not find an Indian customer brand. And for me, I feel that in this century, that needs to change. 2.5 years back, when I had the opportunity to be a part of the 2 or 3 years back at the Startup India event, I said, design in India, make for the world is the next big thing. To which our Honorable Prime Minister said to me that, रितेश को देख के मुझे लगता है एक चाय वाले ने होटल चेन का विचार क्यों नहीं किया? For our friends not from India, the Prime Minister of India said, by listening to Ritesh, I feel why instead of being a tea seller, which our Honorable Prime Minister started with, why did I not think of a hotel chain? Because that's the mindset. I believe in the next years to come, Apurva bhai, you will see that the BSE top 20 script will change. The same way as NYSE and NASDAQ script has changed in the last 30 years. Today, there are only technology companies, which are the top 10, 15 companies there. Almost 9% or 10% of the entire stock exchange is primarily 5 or 6 technology companies. I feel there will be India's own Alibaba, Tencent, and similar companies. And given that aspiration, I think we are very focused on building a large global brand. You'd be happy to know that our geographical diversity has helped us the most in this crisis, Apurva bhai. India is only at 30% of pre-COVID levels. But the reason we are at 84% is because Europe is at 200%, USA is at 140%, Indonesia is at 120% on app demand. So geographical diversity is actually helping us in today's time because some markets are generating so much upside that they're making up for some of the longer term returns that we are waiting for in India as we speak.
That's good. That's good. Great to hear that, the model which we have built in India now generating so much revenues outside India, in Indonesia, in US, in Europe. Glad to hear that we have really created a model which is Indian model, but it's working so well outside India. And probably it will be the only company audience which will be a company who has created a business model in India and replicated outside India. All others normally copycat the business model from outside and then replicate in India. So it's something very amazing thing which you have done. There's no doubt about it. So coming to my next question, I've seen you announcing somewhere that you've been helping during this COVID time. You also helped the government announcing, giving some of your hotels to government for COVID centers. Was something, some social angle on that? That's great to hear that. You talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Apurva bhai, I think the point that you were sharing earlier, let me finish on that and I'll come to this specific point. I think you're absolutely right. The only thing is there are two differences for a made in India business of the world. The first is, I think, we are very inspired by a lot of companies before us who have grown global, right? TCS, Infosys, they are the first generation of companies which built large global businesses out of India, great corporate governance. We are inspired by them. We want to do more of that. And second, you mentioned some of our friends here have joined from the Middle East. You'd be happy to know that we are the biggest hotel company in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And not just that, last year, 100% of the Hajj accommodations were actually audited by the OYO's mobile app wherein anybody who did stay at Hajj got a quality certified room from us, which we served the Ministry of Hajj for. And similar amount of, so right from Tabuk to, of course, the bigger cities of Riyadh, Jeddah, and so on, you will find an Oyo signage. It's hard to miss us in all of those towns. Coming to the perspective of quarantine and supporting people, Apurva bhai, this is something I believe good companies or great companies have to always do. The world is seeing a big crisis, right? When we first saw that, it was scary. But then the immediate next step was saying, how can we help fight this crisis? So if you remember, the first cases started growing outside of China in Southeast Asia and US. It had not started growing in India immediately. So we globally launched a program where we gave free room nights to people who were frontline responders. This was appreciated by the White House, Ivanka Trump, Vice President Pence of the US in White House hearings, Honorable Prime Minister Modi, Philippines President, a lot of Japan leadership, a lot of people across the world, that Oyo became the world's biggest service provider of people who were impacted by the virus. One of the stories that is very close to my heart, Apurva bhai, is that there was this doctor who was helping patients in AIIMS hospital in New Delhi. This doctor, his family and their dog was asked to leave the society overnight just because he was treating patients.
Oh, yeah. So
Within 30 minutes, his entire family came to an Oyo home. I'm happy to tell you that roughly 40 people were saved, at least on my last checking with the doctor. This was covered on India Today and a lot of popular channels in India. So our perspective is, if we do good today, the karma will come back to us positively 5, 10, 20, 30 years later, where people will remember that Oyo helped us in the tough times. That's what I meant when I said we should have a good heart. And it is our employees who did all of this. My job was just signing an approval. And 90% of the payments or support was by our hotel owners. So they should be the people who are more appreciated than us, because we were just the mere system connecting our partners and the people in pain.
Hope the travel situations are getting better now. I've been hearing about Indonesia. I've been hearing about the Europe from you. I've been in India. Hope that's going to improve very soon. Now coming to the, you touched upon Reliance, and we have seen $24 billion coming to India. And, in next 12 to 18 months, what are your plans? I always believe, and I always tell people that Ritesh is unstoppable. And I appreciate how you handled the COVID situation and brought your things back into the track. What is there for the investors, or what are your plans in next 12 to 18 months for Oyo? And would like to talk about that.
Yeah, Apurva bhai, I think in my view, first off, I think, our belief is, when we think about the long term, we are going after a very large market, and budget hotels and vacation homes will continue to remain a big opportunity, as you're already seeing. As we speak, you may be seeing that globally, there are around 250 million rooms which exist within budget hotels and vacation homes, and Oyo has only 1 million pre-COVID. And at 1 million, we are already number 3 in the world. And at 1.5 or 1.6, will be number 1 in the world, ahead of the leading companies. Our aspiration is that, how can we create a difference in the world on making sure that anybody who wants a place to live, clean, comfortable, affordable, whether it is in south of France or in north of US or in India, we should be able to be the single most trustworthy brand that comes to people's mind, which is similar to what companies like Google, Facebook, Netflix, and others have done in their own businesses. So my view is that we have an opportunity, once in a lifetime opportunity, to be able to create a difference of that scale. Recently, I posted a picture of, the Global Hotel Report came out, which sort of put number one company being US, number two being Chinese, number three being Indian, with that scale, and then up to 20 were all US and Chinese primarily. Our belief is we have an opportunity to create the next large ecosystems in India, which can be as large as Facebook, Netflix, etc. In companies. I don't know how much time it will take. It may take a few years, it may take longer, but I think that's the outcome that we have an opportunity of, and we have the resources, innovation, capital, and wherewithal to be able to make that difference.
So with that vision, can we, in next 10 years, can we see OYO, a $100 billion company coming from India?
Apurva bhai, I think OYO will be a big impactful story. The valuations I will leave to smart people like you and various of the analysts who cover our company. But as you see, I think at this point of time, the travel industry has had, the men are separated from the boys. A lot of company stocks are down 30, 40%. But companies like that of Choice Hotels, Huazhu, etc., are like 5, 6, 8% discounts. And Airbnb is actually going to go public, is what I heard in this point of time. So I feel good companies will actually use this as an opportunity to expand market share. And in the next 10 years, whether that's what's the dollar outcome, I can't tell you, but I can definitely tell you that this will be one of the biggest impact and value creators of significant size. I feel very confident about it, and I'm very excited about working hard for it.
Super, super. So we are really inspired with the journey so far, and the future looks really bright. In the end, I would like to ask you, you recently talked about that you're going to help the small town entrepreneurs, and you decided to give it back to the society. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, Apurva bhai, I think I'm personally almost 100% of my work time is focused on operations of OYO. But that said, a lot of people have hobbies, right? Some people say that their hobby is to do new things or gardening. For me, I love talking to new entrepreneurs who are making a difference. For me, Thiel Fellowship and discussions with you changed my life, Apurva bhai. You remember, I got Thiel Fellowship while talking to you. I requested you to be a reference for the folks at Thiel Fellowship. I am very thankful for that. I want to help a fantastic group of entrepreneurs who are not IITs or IIMs, right? Like, look, you talked about Reliance, talk about the CEO of Google, talk about the CEO of Microsoft. They didn't go to IITs or IIMs. They just had a hunger to make a difference in their life. My belief is I want to try and help entrepreneurs like those make large, impactful companies which can rival some of the biggest companies in the world, because in the new generation, technology is a huge leveler with hunger of entrepreneurs. So that's how I think about it, Apurva bhai. I hope there can be many more fantastic entrepreneurs in India, and this may this be the generation of companies being built in India who grow global.
Hopefully, I think with your vision and your support, I think there will be a lot of good thing coming. And of course, would like to see a great future for OYO. And thank you. Here I end my conversation with you. Thank you very much for spending time. Ravi, would you like to take over from here?
Thank you so much, Dr. Apurva. Thank you so much, Ritesh. I think that was phenomenal and very, very inspirational. We already have people tweeting about the takeaways from you, especially the point where you spoke about the culture and the point where you spoke about listening. I think that was phenomenal. We have a lot of questions, so we'll try and curate a few questions, and we'll go ahead with that. But before that, Dr. Apurva, I would like to request you if you can share a little insights about Ritesh coming on board Venture Catalyst as a mentor, and now he would be helping our startups.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I forgot to mention that. In fact, recently, Ritesh has come on board. I would like to thank Ritesh to coming on board with Venture Catalyst as an advisor to help entrepreneurs. Like he already said, I would like to first of all formally thank you on this forum because it's our global community of investors. So in front of them, I would like to thank you. And I think your association is definitely very inspiring to many of our entrepreneurs already. And like you said, there will be a possibility of creating many, many good Sunicon and semi-unicorn companies out of this platform. So, and definitely a lot of thanks to Ritesh for joining as an advisor. Thank you.
Thank you, Apurva bhai. I feel you're very connected to the grassroots of our country, and that truly enthuses me because I genuinely believe that the next generation of value accretion in our country is going to come from the real India as an opportunity. And your experience of backing some of the most amazing entrepreneurs gives me the opportunity to be able to interact and support them in their long-term success.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Ritesh. Dr. Apurva. Ritesh, we have a lot of questions. So I'll be curating these questions and request you to share your insights. We have the first question coming in from Mr. Muhammad Shahid Khan. How did you build the culture at OYO? I think that's a question we all want to listen to the answer, Ritesh.
Yes, Mr. Khan, first off, thank you so much for your question. I think what I have learned all through is that a culture is designed basically by three important situations, at least in my journey and experience. I also have a lot more to learn. I think the first thing is the people you recruit. Second is the people you promote. And third is what kind of things or processes or values do you not agree with. So for me, I think these three have been most critical. So I tried to recruit some high quality people from day one. You'd be happy to know that till date, other than one person, nobody has ever left our company who directly reported to me in the CXO group. And the one person who moved on is also full-time on the OYO board. So almost 100% of the people are aligned with our company in the future, because in the good days and in the bad days. And in my view, that speaks about the culture that we believe in the long term. So bring good people, they bring better people, and ensure that you stand behind your principles. So if you see something going right, that is right as per your culture, double down. Which is not right, invest in being able to make a difference by penalizing that.
Thanks a lot, Ritesh. Really appreciate that. We have the next question coming in. The second question is, how did you manage to scale your recruitment in such a short span of time at OYO, both in terms of people who are looking at operations management, also your C-level executives and your advisors, Ritesh?
Yeah, look, I think, again, I have always learned that one of the most underappreciated traits of building a company is relationships that you build with people around yourself. So I believe fundamentally, the relationships I built with people who became my friends, they introduced me to more people and when they introduced me, they knew that because they are friends with me, they should introduce people who they genuinely respect and like. So my first recruit was Abhinav Sinha. I was told in the early days of my TL fellowship, don't be around MBAs and don't be around consultants. Abhinav went to Harvard Business School and went to Bain and Company before that. So it was, it looked like not such a good decision, but I think he's been a great partner to me. He's our COO. And then Abhinav invited 3 people that he knew from his university or education and other companies he worked for. Those 3 invited other people. I think organic is the only way you can bring trustworthy long-term partners for the company's long-term success. And second, I have always aspired for excellence. I always ask myself, who is the best person for this job, who I can seek help from? And I'm never ashamed to ask. So even 4 years back, if I wanted to talk to world's best hotel chain leader, I will find somebody who will call them and say that you should talk to Ritesh. If I want to speak to the CEO of Facebook, I will request somebody to reach out and say that, can you talk to Ritesh for some time? So I'm hungry for learning, and I always feel asking doesn't hurt. Sometimes people may say no, but that doesn't hurt. 1 year later, I'll try again. But always pursuit for excellence has helped me, and it takes time to get there. But I think I keep trying.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Ritesh. I really appreciate that. The next question: how do you? I mean, in the COVID scenario, while on one side we have startups and businesses which are a little worried, and on the other side we see companies such as Reliance. In fact, at Venture Catalyst, we have been able to invest in some really phenomenal companies in the last 2 months, which is a very difficult scenario. How do you raise capital in an environment where everyone is nervous about the future? That's a very crucial question, and I think you are the best person to answer this, Ritesh.
Yeah, look, I think, this is different for different stages of business. So I will talk both about the growth stage of businesses as well as the early stage of businesses. I think in the early stage of businesses, investors invest in the entrepreneur, mostly what I have seen. So the entrepreneur is high quality and you're investing with a reasonable time horizon. The value accretion ends up happening no matter what, as you know, Ravi. So if I'm an entrepreneur, I will be honest. I will tell my perspective of the challenges and the opportunities, and I'll give my long-term view. For the growth companies, it's slightly different, Ravi. For the growth companies, actually, there is just too much capital out there. You may be seeing in the US every day some company going public and raising capital, and billions of dollars being written. That's because of two reasons. The first one is, I think, given the current situation with the Fed and the amount of capital that is coming in the market, the corporate earnings and the market values are not fully interlinked as we speak. At some point of time, it will catch up, but today it is not fully interlinked. And a lot of private companies which are large, right, with billions of dollars of revenue. Oyo ended last year with $2 billion plus of revenue, December 19. And similarly, a lot of companies which have billions of dollars of revenue and are still private, this thought of as if people are investing in, mid cap or large cap equivalent companies. And hence there is a lot of capital chasing them. But that said, the question is, what is the cost of it? And that's the big discussion that is constantly happening.
Really appreciate that, Ritesh. There are a couple of very interesting questions, but I have a personal question and I would like to ask you. So, we interact with a lot of young startups. You started, you were 16-year-old from a really small town in Orissa, and then you went on. In 2020, when we have access to incubators, government is doing wonderful work. We have networks like Venture Catalyst and various others. What would be your advice to a 19, 20-year-old entrepreneur who's trying to build a very large venture, which is looking at both solving a large problem, also trying to scale and go global? What would be your insights and input to that, Ritesh?
Look, I think in today's world, life is so much easier than it ever was. The ecosystem of venture catalyst investors is a great example of it. I think people across towns and cities want to support new stories and aspirations. I have seen this in action myself. My only suggestion for that young entrepreneur would be two things. Number one, a lot of times I see entrepreneurs focus on talking about some kind of investment or business fundamentals before they talk about the customer. I think it's very critical to talk about the customer, and every customer is critical. I was seeing the questions. We have over close to 50 questions, and there is one message I have about a customer who did not have a good experience. I can tell you that is the most exciting thing for me, right? Because I'm not happy about it, but I'm happy that the customer feels that they can share their thoughts or challenges with me, and I will do the right thing for them. I want you to know that your feedback is well taken, and we will do the best to make sure that no customer has a challenging experience. Because a lot of times when I speak to my team, Ravi, and this is what happens when you're starting a company as well, is that people talk in big macro details, right? So like my team in Oyo India told me that, Ritesh, our business doing so well, 90% of our revenue is repeat customer and word of mouth customer. So we have to spend no money on repeat. So I said, how many customers complain? They said 0.8% only. I said 0.8% of tens of millions of customers is a huge number, and every customer matters. So we are going to make, I think my only advice to the entrepreneur will be, before thinking about funding and business, focus on the customer, and every customer, and every time. It's not like you will solve 100% problems, but you should have the zeal of being able to be focused for each one of your users. And if you are, I think long term, you'll be very successful.
Wonderful, Ritesh. I think that was a very interesting answer, and you also answered a question which I was about to ask. What do you talk to your team members when you host your town halls? I think that was wonderful, Ritesh. Moving on to the next question. You are one of the very few founders in the world who bought back stocks from a very, very large VC. It's a great vote of confidence in your team, your vision towards building Oyo, the biggest brand in the world, and to your customers. Can you please share your thoughts on why you took that decision and what inspired you to take that decision, Ritesh?
Sure, I think that's something that I would like to. I think that a lot of people in this call will also relate with. I will break my answer into three parts. The first one is, I want to build this company for a very, very long time, and I felt that was the right time, or last year was the right time for me to be able to demonstrate my confidence for the long term of success in our business. And I believe that confidence probably has gotten accentuated or increased in the times of COVID for the long-term opportunity we have. It may have meant that we are probably delayed by a year and a half because of COVID, but I think long-term the commitment or focus has actually increased. The second bit that I think is very critical, and I don't talk about it in the media, I'm sharing this in a smaller group here, is that a lot of people feel that the entire $2.2 billion I invested was leverage. It wasn't. A very small part, roughly 10% of it was leverage. And I think the rest of it was still structured equity investment, which is, my financial partners trusted in me to be able to make the decision and said that we believe that together we will create significant amount of outcome. And last but not the least, I think it's very, very critical, is that companies with founders who have significant ownership and significant long-term focus end up creating disproportionate value. And you look at any company, I was listening to one of my friends, Yuri Milner, at California 2 years back, and we were having lunch. And he told me something very interesting. He had come up with a maths of saying that which companies become the most valuable companies in the years to come. So he said, Ritesh, there are three things I have figured are always consistent. Number one, entrepreneur has big ownership. He said, look at Facebook, Netflix, Amazon, etc. Entrepreneurs are fighting hard and they're willing to create disproportionate value, right? Number two, employees have big ownership. That's where employees work for the company as if it's their own. Number three, R&D investment as a percentage of sales is at least 4 times higher than the incumbent. And there he gave me the comparison of Ford versus Tesla. And he said, Ritesh, and this is the time when Tesla was $200 a share. He said, Ritesh, Tesla is going to be at least $1,000, right? Today, Tesla is $2,100, if I'm not wrong, somewhere around that range. So I think these are three fundamental premises that I believe create long-term disproportionate outcomes. And in my view, this has allowed me to be able to create, hopefully create significant outcome in the years to come.
Thanks a lot, Ritesh. Really, really appreciate that. Before I go ahead for the next question, Dr. Apurva, do you have any question before we go to the next one?
No, fine. I think I would like to appreciate, I had a good learning today. The third point, which is R&D, really eye-opener point. Many of Indian companies is a great learning.
Thank you so much, Dr. Apurva. Ritesh, Oyo is becoming the largest hotel brand in the world, and you are still a private company. When are you planning to let retail investors be part of your vision by going IPO?
So look, I think we have upwards of 8,000 crores on our balance sheet across our group companies. And most of the investors are looking at it with a long-term upside opportunity. So for us, I think at this point of time, there are two important thoughts. Number one is we should be IPO able at any point of time. And our systems, processes, financial processes, governance, you may have seen the board members we've brought in like Betsy, Troy, Steve, etc. I think those are in the direction of making sure that we are IPO ready. But that said, when we want to go public is a decision for the OYO board to make. And within that, the big question will be that what do we do with the capital that we raise? At this point of time, I think we have significant balance sheet. Some of our countries are already profitable, like I mentioned, Denmark, Netherlands, and few other countries. And some other countries are actively in the direction to get there over the next year or 2 years in terms of timeline. So from our perspective, we will have to look at what is the right time. But to the extent our investors feel it is the right time to consider going public, and I think it's the right time, I think we will be able to go public in the right time. And we're also carefully looking at Airbnb, which is also a shareholder in our company, a partner, but also a player in the accommodation space globally. They plan to go public in the next few months. So we will also be keenly looking at those proceedings.
Wonderful, Ritesh. Really appreciate that. I would like to take this opportunity. I remember this personal interaction with you at Indian Angel Network. I think it was 2011 when you said that, Ravi, I'm trying to build something like Airbnb for India. Today, Airbnb must be a proud investor in OYO Hotel and Rooms. I think that's a wonderful story, Ritesh. Really inspiring. We'll take the next question. What matters for you the most and why? It's a very open-ended question, but I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs and people joining event would be able to learn a lot from this.
I think this is true for every entrepreneur, and I would believe for your investors as well, because your investors could have been investing in a lot of other instruments. Of course, startups provide dollar outcome opportunities, but making a difference, making an impact in what you're doing is something that truly inspires me. And I feel that in a broader ecosystem among our listeners also, that's something that makes a huge difference, right? Like for me, the most, I'll tell you, I grew up in the Odisha, Andhra Pradesh border. My parents are Haryanvi and Rajasthani. So I can speak Haryanvi, Rajasthani, Telugu, and Odia. So truly Indian. I can speak a little bit of few other foreign languages because of my work I have learned. And through these experiences, I learned all through, like my parents would always ask me, right? Like, Ritesh, why, a lot of people get asked this question, saying, why are you on the phone all the time? Why are you on calls all the time? And so on. And I was telling my parents when I recently got to speak to them a few months back, that I was recently traveling to one of the cities, where I saw a big bus coming in front of the hotel. Lot of people coming out and walking into the OYO hotel, grandmother, children, their children, sister, daughter, and all going happily inside the hotel. I think, remember that is happening at the scale of around 7-8 lakh, millions actually people on a daily basis pre-COVID, and even now in lakhs every day across the world. I feel so amazed that I have had the opportunity to do this work. So if I was paid no money, I still keep working for OYO because it is such an amazing opportunity to make this difference.
Wonderful, Ritesh. Really appreciate that. We'll take the last question for the day. If you can share one advice, I'm sure you have many, but if you can share one advice to first-time entrepreneurs who are starting their business during the pandemic, what would be that advice, Ritesh?
I think a lot of people will tell you, the business advice, that is cash is king, focus on the organization, all kinds of things. I think my only feedback is twofold. Number one, be agile and use this time to really correct your systems, formula, and so on. Because if you look at the Great Plague of 1929, if you look at the World War, every time when crisis comes, in 2 years or 3 years, it goes away as if it never existed. Sometimes in 1 year as well. It goes away as if it never existed. Whenever it does, the 3 or 4 years after that are the best times for wealth creation. So this is the time to learn, innovate, build the right systems and processes. That's number one. And second, make sure that you keep the people who stand with you in these times closer to you than ever before. I was telling this to some of my shareholders, right? Like a lot of shareholders of ours actually came to me and said that they want to buy more of Oyo shares recently. And I said, thank you, but I don't want to dilute so much now. But the reason why all of them so excited is because, all of them believe that this is the right time to come in for the long-term upside that the company may see in the times to come. I believe those people become closer to me than ever before. And that's what I have done with the previous years. And I believe every entrepreneur should do it, because 2016, I'll tell you, again, a lot of people said the company will not be able to grow all across India. It is just a North company and so on. All my team stood together with me. Some of our key shareholders stood together with me. And I have remained friends with all of them. And I have thanked them all through the years until now. And I can tell you today, they're becoming even closer friends of mine. For people who understand Hindi on this call, the mool bhav of dhanda is, dosti jo hai, wo mushkil ke waqt mein banti hai, which is friendships are made in tough times. And I feel that build as many friendships as you can in this period, even if you have to pay for that friendship, but make friendships in today's times. Those are two thoughts I would have.
Thanks a lot, Ritesh. Really, really appreciate that. I wish we could have continued, but it would not be possible given that you are really busy. But I'm sure these 60 minutes were really, really inspiring. We have been listening to your media interactions and the wonderful work with you as an entrepreneur and Oyo as a company is doing. But I think today's session was truly, truly inspiring for us. And on behalf of Venture Catalyst and 9 Unicorns, we would like to thank you. I would now like to invite Dr. Apurva Ranjan Sharma, co-founder Venture Catalyst and co-founder 9 Unicorn, to share thank you remarks for Ritesh. Dr. Sharma.
First of all, I would like to thank all the partners who have invited so many investors from across the globe to hear Ritesh. And thanks, Ravi, you also organized very, very well. And our team who has organized this. And thanks, Gaurav Gulati, who has been part of this, organizing this session, has been instrumental. And then I would like to thank Ritesh once again, who has taken out time for giving us some learnings of life. And of course, I was always confident on Ritesh, but it has multifolded my confidence after hearing you after 60 minutes, this 60 minutes. And I wish that at some point of time, you become the largest hospitality company of the world. And also we see you globally the most successful founder of one most successful hospitality company. With this wish, I would like to thank you for coming, and we'll keep interacting with you more. Thank you very much, Ritesh.
Thank you, Apurva Bhai. I want you to know that for all our listeners as well, that I owe it to you and the broader family for your support in the early days. So please feel free to reach out, and I'm sure that there is a lot of advice and wealth of learning from various investors of yours. So if there are any suggestions or feedbacks, please share it with us. I always say it takes a village for somebody to be successful. So I want everybody who genuinely sees this as something that they want to see as being successful in 5, 10, 15 years to share their advice, feedback, and learnings. And I look forward to being related to the Venture Catalyst family and to you, Apurva Bhai. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ritesh. Before you leave, Ritesh and Dr. Apurva, I would like to take this opportunity, because we are in a virtual world, we would like to take a virtual group picture, requesting all the co-founders of Venture Catalyst to join, Mr. Anuj Golecha, Mr. Anil Jain, Mr. Gaurav Jain, if you can kindly join in and switch on your camera. Thank you so much.